Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to the Bronx. That's right, the Bronx, New York. Normally I do restaurant shows, you know, chefs, restaurants, a cuisine, that sort of thing. Well, today's a bit of a departure, but not really. It's a shopping show. If you want to make great food at home, and in this case, say great Italian-American food, you need great ingredients. And if you want great ingredients, hard to find a better place to shop than Arthur Avenue, the Bronx, New York.
Parmigiano Reggiano Marchiato a puntini.
My son, let me have 2 pounds of that right
1
here.
minute, sir.
2 pounds.
Okay, now gentleman, he wants a 2 pound. Yes, sir.
Look at that. That's beautiful bacala.
All right, I mentioned the Bronx, right? I'm not from the Bronx. I'm from West Philly. So what do I know? You want to do a Bronx show, you better get an insider. Who better than Dave Greco of Mike's Deli? Great little outpost right in the Arthur Avenue shopping. Meet Dave Greco.
Come on, Miguel, mangia.
come on.
Hot mozzarella.
This beats the kimchi thing. I shouldn't say that. Whoops. Baby. Where else? So David, talk to me. For those in the world, the 3 people that left don't know how to make fresh mozzarella. How do you make it?
Mozzarella goes on pizza only.
Please.
The curd comes. The curd is the butterfat, the milk fat, the rennet. We chop it down. We put it on our beautiful Bronx tap water, nice and hot. And then we have our fresh mozzarella. And the trick is to be fast.
How old were you when you learned how to make mozzarella?
No exaggeration, 5 years old. And my son is behind the counter helping me too once in a while. And he's 5.
Good.
Just for fun though.
Che bella cosa.
All right, Dave Greco, Mike's Deli. How does Dave Greco get involved with Mike's Deli? Well, guess who Mike is? Meet Mike, Dave's dad. Get the picture? Generations. Hey, this is the Bronx and Arthur Avenue. You're going to see this as a theme throughout the show.
Hey, bello.
There's a gimmick, I got every last piece.
The whole idea for the Arthur Avenue market started under Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia. Up until then, the Italian Americans in the Bronx had been selling their goods off of push carts, going up and down the streets. I got lemons, who wants olives, that sort of thing. Well, LaGuardia felt, if I put you all under one roof, you'll be merchants, you won't be peddlers anymore. The city had this little piece of land, I don't know what it was before, maybe a stable or something. But the city freed it up, rented it out to the merchants, put them under one roof, and then, gave them this sense of now the people will come to you. Now you're in business in a much bigger way, and that's how Arthur Avenue got started.
It's good enough to eat, right?
You go to most supermarkets, most specialty food stores, you want figs, they got maybe a flat of figs, they got some pints of these figs. You come here, they go through pallets of figs on a given day. I mean, look at these things. These are just beautiful. Nowhere else in the city do you find this kind of specialty ingredients in these kind of quantities. I mean, you can't beat this place. Fresh, right off the trees. You eat these, you begin to understand what olives taste like, what olive oil is supposed to taste like. Caper berries, look at these. They're just delicious. Over here, we got the ones in the salt cured.
Sea salt.
Just beautiful, really pungent, great flavor. And then here are the huge ones, which again, a lot of people like the little nonpareils. I much rather have these things. You sprinkle that over a tomato or a roast pepper, put that in your puttanesca sauce, please.
When you have a market like this, when you have everything at your access, of course you're going to have the best. Now we'll go take a peek at the butcher.
Gotcha. They look good, don't they?
Our specialty is lamb sausage, with a little bit of veal in there to add to the consistency of the sausage. We spice it up, all fresh spices, bone out the lamb, trim it, we grind it, he mixes it, salt, pepper, garlic, parsley, Parmigiano cheese that we get from Mike's Deli, the best of course. And you can see, and it's made fresh every day. Obviously, the
No
neighborhood.
sodium nitrite, no preservative.
No nitrite, nothing at all. There's nothing at all in there.
Talk about grinding and meat, because one of the things that drives me crazy with you go to the supermarket, you buy ground beef. You buy a pound of ground beef, there could be 100 different cattle in that because it's coming from a factory.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So you're getting a single piece of beef.
This is what you see here. This is prepared.
That's prepared for grinding.
This is prepared
It's
for grinding.
cut lean. Look how lean that meat is. From one carcass,
From
it's
one
clean.
carcass,
So
that's it, clean.
Right. So this fear that people have of E. coli
Right.
H147. I mean, one of the problems is when you go to this, when you buy factory ground meat,
Right.
you can get hundreds of different cattle in that hamburger patty of yours.
Absolutely.
This is one cow.
That's it,
period.
and nothing added to it.
Right.
What you see here, this is what you get when you take home.
Can't beat that.
You can't beat it.
Here we are, we're in the middle of this great food court. I mean, the Arthur Avenue, bingo, everything you want. And in the middle of this thing, like literally chock in the middle, is a cigar guy. This makes sense to me, because after every meal, usually, that's what I do, I got a cigar. How did you end up here?
Well, my father started off here. He actually worked in that meat market at the end when it's one of his first jobs. And I realized that there was no premium cigar stores in the Bronx. And after selling very expensive cigars, I figured I'd invent a cigar that would help be affordable for the blue-collar workers. And after a good meal, and we're at one of our best restaurants over here at the deli, you can come have one of the best cigars you ever had.
You want fresh seafood? How about that eel? Move out of the way. That thing's gonna bite you on the ankles.
Buona salute.
I love it fresh, and it's fresh here. Randazzo Seafood. 80 years, 3 generations. Great, fresh seafood and a great bargain. Hey, this will pay for your cab fare right away in savings. Baby octopus, look at this. Talking about good for seafood salad. I mean, look at these guys. These things are great.
What are they?
But they call them spearlings. They're just almost like a bigger whitebait. It's a bait fish. Toss them in a lot of flour, boom, deep fry them, eat the whole things. They're just delicious. Like little fishy French fries. They're fantastic. Talk to me about these guys.
These are langostinos, which is like a little tiny lobster. A lot of people just grill them, a little oil,
Right, you eat
lemon,
the
white
tail.
wine.
You eat the
Basically,
tail.
it's the tail.
Right,
yeah.
the head's for you can make stock or soup or something.
Yeah, that's all.
But this is you crack this off and
But it's real nice and tender. Nice.
Great to make a ragu with it. If you put it in a tomato sauce,
And the sauce too is
a
good.
rich plum tomato.
next to this you got the great we saw these.
Yeah, those are the gambero, which is like a giant shrimp with the
So
head.
delicious though. I mean, you take this, the grilled or just sauteed with a little garlic, a little lemon, a little parsley on the top. These turn really red and beautiful. Big mouthful. What meal's complete without great, fresh, baked bread? Here at Medonia, they've been doing it since 1918. From Palermo to the Bronx. Hasn't changed. Same recipes, same family. This is a classic.
We're in the Bronx, so you could do this. You have to try this, Mike.
What
This
am I-
is a Sicilian recipe that when they started making this, I gained 20 pounds. Fennel and raisins, out of this world.
Wow. Tell me about the cannolis. You stuff these all individually?
We all individually, as the people come in, we don't leave them in the refrigerator made up because they get too mushy to shell, and everybody wants a nice dry shell. So
Got to stuff them to order.
made to order. That's the only way we do them.
Calabresi pork store. Oh, you know, Mikey likes his soppressata. Check that stuff hangs from the ceiling. That's sausage fermenting. That's one of the 3 or 4 ways to age sausage commonly used. And I know it ain't pretty to look at, but they'll rinse it off before it's fully ready to be sold. And it's delicious. And what's happening in the drying process? Literally, the moisture's coming out.
The moisture's coming out, and then you get a little bit of mold from the humidity.
And that's on the outside of the casing,
Right.
so it's not going
No,
in.
no, it's not going in.
And you just
Then-
brush that off, rinse that
Yeah,
off?
when it's ready to come down, we wash it off.
What am I got up here?
That's the dry sausage in the first stage.
First
Just
stage.
made fresh.
All right.
This is more of the second stage right here.
You can still see the ends are a little bit
Exactly. And then you're gonna get to your older
covered with mold.
cover. Literally. That's pretty much that's like a natural time clock.
It's a beautiful thing. It smells great in here. Hey, we're in the Bronx. We're cooking Italian. You got to have your pasta, right? Go to Borgatti's, buy it by the pound, fresh. I don't know how long these people have been here. 3, 4 generations, making it fresh daily. Doesn't get any better than this. This is great fresh pasta. Mr. Borgatti, how many years has your family been at the store?
Since 1935, my parents opened the store. I was here with them, and here we are. We're still here.
You come in here and you want to order pasta. How does one go about this? You come in and you say, oh, I need fettuccine or I need tagliatelle. How do you do it?
We show them a chart because everyone has a different name for the same kind of pasta.
Would this be the chart right over here, sir?
That's one of them.
Okay, so number 6 is kind of thin, number 5 is a little thicker, and number 1 you're getting like a pappardelle or something.
Yeah, or lasagnette.
Lasagnette.
See, everybody has different names.
This is Italians. We can't agree on this kind of stuff.
Right.
But you finish off the meal, you think you're stuffed. Nah, come on, like my grandmother said, you got room for a cannoli, right? Or maybe a sfogliatelle or something. So you head over to Artuzzo Pastries. You know, beautiful stuff, Italian-American. Have a Pignoli before you go. Beyond the neighborhood, I mean, you're a big neighborhood institution, but you got people coming to buy this stuff from all around, right?
Tri-state area and more. We've gone as far as people coming in from Puerto Rico and the West Coast.
For the people that don't know, I'm going to break
Come
one
on.
of these open. Come
Go
here.
right ahead. Go
You
right
can hear
ahead.
this on the camera. Hear that? That cracking sound? It's all these little rings. That's the filling. And you got to do like this. That's good. That's a great sfogliatelle.
We have the stuffed artichokes.
Well, like I said, we weren't doing a restaurant show, but really two of the most famous ones up here are Dominic's, that's been here forever, serving great, Southern Italian, Italian-American food, and Roberto's, a relative newcomer that does a fantastic job just around the corner from Arthur Avenue. Arthur Avenue, the Bronx, huh? That's a slice of life, isn't it? I love places like that. They got a 9th Street Market in Philadelphia, man, it's like going back to the 1950s. I mean, Arthur Avenue I don't think it's changed in 40, 50 years, and I think part of it's sort of the remote geography. I mean, to get there from Manhattan, you got to take a subway and then a bus. I mean, it's like going to Vermont. I mean, it's not easy to get to, it's sort of like up there by itself, but that's what makes it so great. It doesn't want to change, it doesn't have to change. It's foodie paradise for Italian-American shopping. So what am I going to make? Spaghetti and meatballs. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Red sauce. I grew up eating this like every Sunday, grandmom's house. And I don't know about you all, but I always have trouble making food that I like, that my wife likes, that my kids like. So often we have these sort of segregated affairs where we all eat dinner together, but not the same food. That drives me crazy. So I'm always looking for common ground cooking. What do I like? My wife likes what I like, but what do the kids? Meatballs. You make a great meatball, that's a fantastic thing. And make a ton of them because they're great for sandwiches as leftovers. I mean, make them for like the week. You can freeze them too, they're great. So I'm gonna start out with something here. A lot of ways to make meatballs. Typical Italian meatballs, veal, pork, and beef. A third, a third, a third. The veal adds a little lightness, the pork adds moisture, and the beef is beef. The beef's just a binding protein, but everything adds its own little element of flavor, moisture, spreads it out, thins it out, makes them a little lighter like the veal. A lot of supermarkets and butchers sell a pre-made mix, which is perfectly fine. It's divided up into, usually you can see it's pork, veal, beef. It's all divided up, it's whatever it is. I got a little thing, a lot of these people have these at home, a little KitchenAid appliance. They've got this little attachment and it's not expensive. It's a grinder, and why I like this is simple. 2 reasons. When you go to buy your ground meat, it says like, 85%, what's it say? Yeah, 85% meat, 15% fat. Well, how do they describe it on that? It's supposed to sound good, right? 90% lean or something. But what they're not telling you is it's 10% or 15% fat. Now, an 8-ounce burger, that means you got like 2.5 ounces. That's a lot of fat. Hey, I don't need any more fat, you know what I mean? I got enough. So, 2 things. I'm going to trim the fat out of a lot of this meat and make my mix super lean. The second thing is, I don't want to scare people, but supermarket ground meat has me nervous. We had that huge Conagra recall this year with 19 million pounds from that E. coli 0157H. Every little hamburger has like 100 different cows inside of it, apparently. So this way, I grind my own meat. I know what I'm putting in. I think I'm getting the E. coli thing a bit out of the way. So enough of the negative stuff. We're going to grind our own meat, put it in here, then put the meatballs together. So put your helmet on. Veal. Oh yeah. Da-dee-dee. I feel like a butcher. All right, got the pork done. Got the veal done. This is just a pork loin, regular old. I want this because it's nice and lean. We'll just trim it up slightly. There's really no fat in a pork loin. Cube it up a little bit. Make life easy for my grinder. And then we're going to grind that right into the veal. And in goes the pork. All right, pork's done. That's about 50-50 there. And now we're going to come in with the beef. I just bought beef chuck. And again, we're just going to cube this up. All right, meat's in the fridge. Got to keep it cold. So I have that big mixing bowl in the refrigerator. Boom, good. Hold it cold. Now, what goes into a good meatball? I remember my grandmother. I never, you could smell it a block away when she was doing that, her Italian gravy, her meat gravy, sausage and meatballs and braciole and all that. Well, today we're going to do sausage and meatballs together in the pan, big red sauce. But what goes into the meatballs? Meatballs aren't just meatballs. Here's what I do. Egg. A little garlic paste I'm going to make with fresh garlic. Some Romano cheese, locatelli or Romano cheese. Fresh basil, fresh parsley, dry breadcrumbs, and milk. And those 2 things, bread and the milk, is what they call panada, I guess in Italian, panade in French. It acts as a little bit of a moisture, a little bit of a stretcher, kind of makes them nice and tender, because meat is protein. And if you're not careful, you're going to make You know, like a bad meatball is like a little cannonball. You ever have bad meatballs? Ooh. You know, they should be tender and delicious. And I love the basil, the cheese. So, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this thing we've done a million times before. We're gonna get this garlic and then we're gonna cut it real small. And then I'm gonna get a big pile of this, and then I'm gonna throw some salt on it, and we've seen this trick before. Rub with the back of the knife and make a puree. This is the basil. Parsley, I took the stems out. We're just mixing the meat here. Remember, we just ground it, threw it in the fridge, and now we're stirring it around to get the pork and the veal and the meat beef kind of mixed a little better. This is about 3 pounds of meat. It's gonna be a lot of meatballs. It's one of the great inexpensive meals of all times. I put it in the KitchenAid. Then we'll get about half the garlic and put it in. Some salt. We'll get some of the basil and the parsley, and just they'll end up in there too. I don't like to put eggs directly cracked because you get a little shell in there. You run the risk of salmonella. So I crack an egg like this. Whenever I put eggs in anything, put it in here, I see there's no shells, good. Now my egg went in, a little bit of cheese, and if you want the recipe, go to the website. Who knows, maybe I even have it on the website. I do that once in a while. All right, now slowly does it. All right, just let that begin to mix. Then we're gonna hit it with some breadcrumbs. Milk's getting picked up by the breadcrumbs here, so just a little at a time. Okay. I like what I see there. And that's it. I don't want to overmix this. There's no reason to. This comes off. And in she goes, and I'll tell you what, it smells good. It smells like meatballs already. All right, I'm gonna put a little peppercorns in here. Because I didn't have any pepper and I want a little pepper in there. Now, when I make meatballs, a little trick, same thing when I handle pate, I wet my hands a little cold water. Just pick it up and scoop, and I don't want them too big. And we just roll them. I can like the texture already. See, they're not too firm, and they're not falling apart. And see, by keeping my hands a little wet, the fat's not sticking to my hands. All right, you want to make a good meat sauce? You can use meatballs. I got a guy, you know, one of these South Philly types makes great sausage. So I'm gonna make a meat sauce like my grandmother. You know, she'd have meatballs, sausage. That's what a meat sauce is. It's all sorts of meat. You can make it with anything you want to make it. I'm gonna make a big batch here because I feel like it. All right, I'm gonna open up a couple of cans of tomatoes, and I like to squish them up. These happen to be authentic Italian San Marzanos. They're beautiful. Little basil in there. All right, now I'm gonna get my hands in here and just break these up so that I don't end up with a fork full of the knobby end of a tomato when I'm sitting down in about an hour and a half. And then once this is done, we're gonna meet at the stove. I've got my usual suspects here. A lot of garlic, beautiful sweet onions, big chopped handful of basil. You know, tomato sauce, folks. All right, I'll see you at the stove. We'll be ready to make this whole thing happen. And I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Hungry. All right, we've got a little bit of extra virgin olive oil there. You know, tastes good. Good for you. And we're gonna get the little meatballs, just roll them in and plop them. And I just want to roll them to get good color, because color tastes good. If you could smell this right out of this pan, I mean, you got it. You got this great caramel, you know, this meat that's getting color. You could smell the basil, you could smell the garlic. I mean, I got these hoods. I'm glad I don't live across the street from me downwind, man. I would be mad and hungry. A lot. And you can see they're delicate. I mean, they're not firm, they're light, they're kind of fluffy. I got my meatballs out. We're just gonna go in with the sausage. Same drill, cover the bottom of the pan. Let that sausage rumble. All right, the sausage has some nice color. It's, you know, golden, it's even, it's fine. See this black stuff in the pan? That's the milk solids from the cheese that was in the meatballs. Now, because that turned black, I don't want that. I don't want my finished tomato sauce to have black specks floating around. So, because I'm fussy, you don't have to do this for flavor reasons. I'm gonna take this pan and give it a quick rinse, and then we'll build the tomato sauce from there. You can see the oil, it's smoking. I know I'm ready. You like garlic? I hope so. We got garlic and we got onions. Let me go this way. Lots of garlic. If you don't like garlic, don't use it, but I'll tell you what, you're crazy. Now I'm gonna come in with my basil. A lot of basil, I love basil. And it smells good right now. Even these fancy, expensive, heavy pans have spots that are a little hotter than others, and the outside's always a little hot. That's where the flame makes the turn. All right, here we go. Give it a stir. Now we're gonna bring this whole thing up to a simmer, and as we're doing that, in go these guys. Just easy does it, and all that juice. And there's some more, we're not done yet. Yeah. Then I gotta spread them around so they're underneath. Nice and easy, there's plenty of room. You think we have enough for 6 people, 7 people, you know, huh? Is it too late to invite someone over? What the heck? Bring this up to a simmer, and I'll just do this on the stovetop for about the next couple of hours, hour and a half, and we'll have dinner. Okay, we got the meat sauce. It's kind of rolling. It looks like it's ready. Like I said, it doesn't take long for that stuff. It's pot of boiling water, all right? Park this up there. Now, some good pasta. Spaghetti and meatballs. Spaghetti. I said spaghetti. It's spaghetti. All right, watch out for your feet. What do we got? 6 people, 7 people. All right, this should be doing it. Good Italian, air-dried, top-notch spaghetti. That's what you want. Give it a stir. I figure maybe 8 minutes. That's okay. That's a real noise. All right. Where's that big spoon I had? Sean, where's my big spoon? I lost my big spoon. I found my big spoon. We're gonna need some dissolves here, G. Is this dinner? We're late tonight because we've been filming, right? It's like 9. No, don't be giving away the time. It's a school night. I could get, you know, the federal government might call me up. I don't know. Ashcroft and the boys might be angry. Cheese? That looks pretty good, huh? Am I nuts or does that look good? Am I nuts? Does that look this kind of looks like dinner, huh? All right. So the question is, what are we gonna drink? He gets water. You know, he's young. He's gonna be 13 soon. But me? So Italian, you know, you get the tomatoes. You get that structure. You get that acid. Sangiovese, Barbera d'Asta, a Chianti with soft sides. It's hard to get French wines to match. You know, maybe possibly a Beaujolais, a Brie, or something that, you know, doesn't have that big structure. But, you know, you want acid against the fruit of the tomato. So you're really gonna have to look Italian on this one. Fantastic. And I've got just a side dish, sidebar here. Roasted peppers, anchovies, endive, beautiful haricot vert from one of my local farmers. Johnny, come on in here. It's a family thing. It's the other boy, Johnny here. Hey, the other guy. Hey, here's dinner. What do you feel like having? Meatballs, sausage. What do you want?
Nothing.
What did he say? You're gonna have some, and we'll probably have to film you eating it. Till next week, cook with your family, eat with your family, make these big portions. Why not? You know, we'll get so many days you're living. Eat, cook, have fun. Families love it. You should smell this house today. Oh, big time. Till next week.
Bye.